Now at 11, remembering a Portland woman killed by gun violence.
She was my best friend, man.
You could walk in a room and she would brighten up her day.
Plus, a warning from police about taking the law into your own hands after a vigilante group sets up a sting. And protesters are expanding their reach as they call on the Trump administration to protect national parks.
No rangers means no more destruction to our fragile public land.
And thanks so much for joining us here at 11. I'm John Adams. Our top story tonight, friends and neighbors of a Portland woman who was shot and killed in the Centennial neighborhood this week held a vigil this evening to remember her life. They say 45-year-old Brianne Pardue was a fantastic mother and a great friend. In Portland's Centennial neighborhood, stories were told and tears were shed as friends remembered a member of their community gone too soon.
She was amazing. She was freaking amazing. That woman could do anything.
45-year-old Brianne Pardue died early Monday morning after being shot and killed near Southeast 140th and Harrison. People who knew her say she would do anything for someone in need.
She would give you the last $5 she had in her pocket, or the jacket off of her back if she knew that you needed it more than her.
35-year-old Joshua Thielbar was arrested in connection to Pardue's death. He's been charged with second-degree murder.
She didn't deserve to go like she did. She didn't deserve to die in the hands of a monster who had absolutely no control of his own emotion.
Pardue is one of 7 Portlanders who have lost their lives in homicides in the month of March. On Friday, Portland Police Chief Bob Day said the spike in homicides touches the entire city.
This is something that impacts all of us. As I said, it's unacceptable.
Pardue's neighbors say her spirit is still felt in this tight-knit community, and the memories she left behind won't soon be forgotten.
I think that was more important to me than anything was the fact that she's one of the best moms I've ever met in my life.
Local police are condemning the actions of a social media personality known for exposing child predators. 3 men were arrested after thinking they were meeting with a minor. Both Kaiser and Albany police say they didn't know these stings were happening until they were called and would have liked more of a heads up. Officers tell our Devin Haskins these type of operations can pose safety risks and complicate investigations.
Albany police on Friday arrested 34-year-old Charles Melick, a registered sex offender, on an outstanding warrant. It was during a fake online meetup orchestrated by YouTube creator Gideon and his team posing as a minor. Police say the fake meetup was news to them.
They showed up unannounced and sprung this on us. That's one of the concerns that we have had in the past when we've assisted with other groups.
Police say these types of stings may have good intentions, but can also pose a risk to the public.
First thing is public safety. And so in this particular situation, we don't know who we're interacting with, and we don't know what that confrontation is going to look like.
On Thursday, Kaiser police, tipped off by Gideon, made 2 arrests. 29-year-old Kyle Andrew Monroy of Kaiser and 41-year-old Christopher James Lloyd of Portland. Gideon says his team, acting as decoys, would communicate with the men and pretend to be a minor, then arrange for a place to meet.
I'm not, the judge, jury, executioner, but I am the snitch. And, I will tell the police what these guys are doing.
Gideon sees what he's doing as the right thing.
If we can get these guys locked up and get the information to the police, then we should definitely do that.
Police, on the other hand, see it differently.
The Albany Police Department and area agencies, we do our own stings, and those stings are also very productive, but they're controlled to minimize risk to the public and certainly not put anyone in jeopardy that's unnecessary.
Devin Haskins, KGW News.
Well, police say if you want to report a crime against children, to contact cybertipline.org or call 1-800-THE-LOST or your nearest police department. Well, turning now to weather. After a mostly calm and mild day in the metro area, Timberline saw some snowfall earlier this evening. But now it sounds like the mountain is dealing with yet another warning that went into effect tonight. Celine Stevens is joining us now. Celine, what's going on up there?
So there's one big thing we're looking out for now. There's actually an avalanche warning for that area. So for Mount Hood, for Mount Rainier, for Mount St. Helens, for Stevens Pass, and multiple other areas as well. Most of it's going to be in Washington, but we are seeing that bit affecting us here again in that Mount Hood area. That's just because of that rain. We're seeing a little bit of that wet snow that's heavier than that dry snowpack, and that really puts people at a risk that are in those higher elevations of the mountains. These avalanches, of course, are very deadly, very dangerous. So through tonight, through Sunday evening, you want to make sure you're avoiding those areas if you can, just because that danger is very high right now, again, for avalanches. We just had this warning issued later this evening, again, for tonight through Sunday night. So keep that in mind. If you were planning to go to that area, probably don't over the next 24 hours. But taking a look at the Rose City, we're looking pretty nice right now, pretty dry as well, at least for now. We're sitting at 53 degrees at the moment. Those winds coming out of the southeast at 5 miles per hour. Temperatures in the 50s, 49 in Aurora, along the coast 40s, and we're warmer right now than this time yesterday. 6 degrees warmer in Portland. Other areas also warming up, and this is going to continue into the next few days. But first, we're going to take a quick look at the rain that moves in around 2:30 this morning. It'll last throughout the day, throughout the afternoon, I should say. By later on in the afternoon, things start to dry out. We're just dealing with clouds, and then after that, we get to see the 70s. We'll talk all about that and more a little bit later. John?
All right, Celine, we'll see you later in the show. New tonight, Washington County deputies arrest a woman on attempted murder charges. Just before 7:45 this morning, deputies were called to an apartment on Northwest Chemeketa Lane, just west of Bethany. The victim told them 26-year-old Rosalia Martinez Hernandez forced herself into his home and stabbed him multiple times before running away. He was taken to the hospital with serious injuries, but he's expected to survive. Detectives arrested the suspect about 40 minutes later. One person has been hospitalized with life-threatening injuries after an apartment fire last night in southeast Portland. Firefighters were called just after 11:30 to a complex near Southeast 122nd and Foster. They didn't see smoke or fire at first until one firefighter noticed a basement window that was hot to the touch. Once inside, they found an 80-year-old man unconscious and trapped in thick smoke. They put the fire out quickly after finding the source. At this point, the man's condition is unknown. Today, a local nonprofit invited people to the URS Club in East Portland to honor 2-year-old Dane Paulson. After a 10-day search, Dane's body was found in the Siletz River by a volunteer diver. Today's event by Oregon's Vanished was meant to give the community a safe place to grieve and show Dane's parents that they're still being supported.
There's just way too many missing kids everywhere, really. But, you know, Oregon has a lot of them. And something just needs to change. And it takes an entire community to make that change.
They also invited people to donate money and write notes, all that will be mailed to Dane's family. New developments surrounding a shop near Dawson Park recently linked to violence in an open-air drug market. Yesterday, the Oregon Liquor and Cannabis Commission issued an emergency license suspension order to the Stop and Go Mini Mart. When we last reported on this store, it was boarded up but had seemingly reopened. The shop's licensee now has until April the 21st to dispute the charges in license cancellation. Earlier this month, store owner Donald Sharma was arrested on felony drug charges. More national parks across the country are becoming backdrops for protests. This was Mount Rainier National Park earlier today as one of the dozens of stage rallies and teach-ins organized by a group called the Resistance Rangers. The goal is to call attention to the protections of public lands and stand with federal workers who were fired by the Trump administration.
No rangers means less rescue. No rangers means more destruction to our fragile public land. They're preserved today because of those rangers.
For them to target these services that so many people enjoy and so much wildlife and biodiversity depends on, I was outraged to hear.
This week, a federal court ordered the National Park Service to reinstate about 1,000 probationary workers who were laid off in February.